So in this playoff bracket, you got your Oregons, you got your Georgias, Texas is Texas, Ohio State, we know what that roster is. But if we're talking about wild cards, talking about party crashers, if you will, why not Notre Dame? There's a lot to this roster. There's a lot to how they play. Also, look at their path, man. There's a lot to their path to, I think, really make something shake here in this college football playoff. You wanted 12 teams. We got 12 teams. Notre Dame's one of your 12 teams that has a chance to, I think, wreak some havoc. We'll talk about it right now. If you're a Notre Dame Fighting Irish fan, make sure you're subscribed right here. We called our shot way back in the springtime. Like I said, Jeremiah Love, about to be a national name. Fast forward the tape. He's averaging 8 yards a touch. We'll pat ourselves on the back a little bit there. We want y'all a part of this. Make sure you're dialed in. We appreciate you in advance for being subscribed. Back to the topic at hand. The path for Notre Dame is absolutely fascinating here because you look at the two sides of the bracket. One side, you got Ohio State and Tennessee and Oregon and Texas, Arizona State, Clemson kind of sprinkled in there. You got Georgia on the other side of the bracket, but outside of them, Notre Dame, I feel like, matches up pretty well with everybody else. Just look at their path. They play Indiana to start. Indiana has been a force this year. No way around it. The Ohio State tape also exists. A little bit of something that's tough to get past there if you're the Hoosiers. I think Notre Dame will break down the prediction when we get there, but I think you feel okay about your chances from a matchup perspective. And then you play Georgia in the next round if you do get past Indiana. Again, not a prediction, just hypothetically walking this out. You play Georgia. While Georgia is, I think, the most talented team on this side of the bracket based on the recruiting rankings and based on how they've played to this point in the year, speaking of like the way that you match up with the team, Riley Leonard, I think, is very capable of doing what Haynes King did. I think, speaking of Jeremiah Love, like we did at the Open, man, that's a face card you can throw down. He's averaging 8 yards a touch. You can split him out. You can put him in the slot. You can give him the football. I mean, you can give him touch. Like if you force feed Jeremiah Love and you run the football at a high level, I think there's a path now where Notre Dame is able to have success against Georgia and make things really, really interesting. Defensively against Georgia, talking about the way that Georgia could hurt you, I don't think it's through the air. Xavier Watts is a thief in the night back there. Yes, you lost Ben Morrison, which, I mean, you absolutely hate if you're a Notre Dame fan, but I think you still feel relatively good about your matchup against those Georgia pass catchers. So where's the game played? Game's played in the box when you play Georgia, if it ends up being that way. When it comes to how Notre Dame plays against the run, top 30 in America when it comes to yards per carry allowed. I mean, top 5 in America when it comes to yards per play allowed. The bottom line here is there is definitely a path now where Notre Dame is able to get past Georgia. There's a path, not a prediction right now, just a path speaking through the wild card potential. And then if that's the situation you find yourself in, you got Boise State, SMU, or Penn State that you got to play in the semifinals with a chance to punch your ticket to the national championship. I'm just saying. Like, I know this is the part of the year now where everyone's going to try and squint a little bit and see their path to a national title appearance, but I think when you walk it through for Notre Dame, it's not that crazy. It really isn't. And I think the way they've trended, too, is one of the most interesting parts about who Notre Dame is, because everyone is going to be so quick to jump on the punchline culture and fire off the tweet, good thing NIU's not in the playoff for Notre Dame. One, hey, let's have some decorum, have some respect for what the Fighting Irish have done. Two, look at what they've done since they played at NIU. They've been a different football team. Number 1 in margin of victory in all of college football. Riley Leonard, is he Joe Montana? I don't know about that. Is he playing his role? I think so. The last couple of games, I think you've seen him sort of evolve into his role in the Notre Dame offense. And his role is not to be some, Jaden Daniels of what he was at LSU last year. That's not his role in Mike Nembrock's offense. His role is make good decisions, pick up yards with your legs, get the ball to playmakers, and let's let that defense be great. Get the ball to Jaden Grayhouse in space. Let him be great. Like it's not a thing where this whole operation goes as Riley Leonard goes. And so if they play complementary football like they're capable of playing, I don't see a world where Notre Dame is going to be just severely outmatched in any of these football games. That's Georgia included. Who in that side of the bracket, if you're Notre Dame, scares you? Offensively, that is. Like who is the world beater offense where you're like, don't feel great about that. SMU, yeah, maybe we saw what they are against Clemson up front. I think Clemson put some things on tape that are worth studying if you were to play them. Penn State looked awesome against Oregon. I'm not 110% sold that Xavier Watts couldn't match up with Tyler Warren, and I'm not 100% sold that's the version of Penn State you're going to get every single week. Talk about Boise State. Ashton Genty's awesome. Do they have an offense outside of Ashton Genty if you're Boise State? Remains to be seen. We just spoke about Georgia. Indiana, same thing was said about them, that the Ohio State game feels like it's sort of a data point to study pretty closely when it comes to how much horsepower do they really have. All that's to say, man, there's a path here. There's a wild card potential for Notre Dame that's hot right now, coming off their own bye from conference title weekend, to really make some noise. Take that a step further. If you're Marcus Freeman and you do what I just said, you win 2 games in the college football playoff, one of those being over Georgia, if and when that happens. Think about the optics around the Fighting Irish. What this generation, what my generation knows of Notre Dame football is strong in the regular season. Sometimes the schedule isn't all that daunting. Get to playoff football, get to a BCS title game, get body bagged. Now, Marcus Freeman has not been involved in those kind of instances. Marcus Freeman is writing his own chapter at Notre Dame. And if they do what I just walked out that they could do, the glass ceiling of Notre Dame football is shattered. Because no longer are recruits having the stigma of Notre Dame, good brand. I mean, I love Rudy. If they've seen Rudy, Touchdown Jesus is awesome. I'm sure it's a great visit in the spring and the summer. But, like, if you go do what I just said, if you go beat Georgia, make a run in the college football playoff, you're talking about Notre Dame as being a team that's actually a viable option when it comes to accomplishing your goals of playing at the highest level in college football for the most competitive trophies. Obviously, the exposure piece there helps your draft stock. Like there's a lot, I think, that can sort of change the tide of Notre Dame football over the course of just the next 5 years, to be real, if they make a run in this playoff and cause a massive ripple effect. So I can't wait for it. I think Marcus Freeman's made of the right stuff. I think we've seen this team show the right stuff since the NIU loss. And I wonder if that fight or flight mentality they've had to be in now since NIU, where they knew, hey, if we lost a game, we're out of the college football playoff. They've been playing playoff football since week 2. I wonder how well that's going to serve them. I can't wait to watch. Make sure you're locked in. Make sure you're subscribed. We appreciate y'all. Love y'all, man. Going to keep this party rolling. We will see y'all next time.